Hello, welcome everyone to tonight's career workshop on exploration and assessments, and featuring a career assessment with a free tool by the Public Health Career Explorer. And so tonight we're going to start off with a presentation with some food for thought, some context about these assessments as a resource, and then we'll be breaking out into breakout rooms to have conversations and share out our assessment results, as well as regroup as a large group to debrief. And so there's tons of assessments out there, all various kinds. Some folks, most common one is the Myers-Briggs, like the MBTI, Strong Interest Career Inventory. There's another one called DISC that's fairly popular, behavioral self-assessment tool, which categorizes people into 4 personality types. DISC for D for dominance, I for influence, S for steadiness, and C for conscientiousness. And there's also something called the Clifton Strengths Finder, which pinpoints like individuals' top 5 strengths around theme groups in also 4 domains, kind of like around strategic thinking, relationship building, influencing, and executing. And the one that we're going to be looking at today is the Holland Code, which is also attached to a free U.S. Department of Labor resource called ONET interest profiler. And so, before we get into the assessment piece, kind of like where does this fit within the overall larger view of strategic career planning? And for those of you that were at our earlier semester's workshops, we talked about career values. And that's an important kind of like if you see all these circles in this Venn diagram, kind of like all these different aspects around your values, your interests, your personality, and your skills, and what is the intersection of all that for that ideal career spot. And so in case you missed it, on our Handshake resources, we do have the recording of our career values and that workshop on aligning values in your job search. And for those of you that are in Career Skills Academy, feel free to schedule an appointment on Handshake to do that career values activity with Taylor. And there's tons of other resources in Handshake, but we just wanted to point that out. And so, looking at these VIPs, these values, interests, personality, skills, like where these career assessments kind of help sort of, with all these questions, kind of group and categorize those interests and those skill sets and those personality as a way and as a tool to kind of look at potential career pathways of interest. And so around career exploration, sort of like this idea of like exposure to new ideas and perspectives and maybe things that you hadn't thought of before, right? Because it's kind of like we're all in the same category where we don't know what we don't know. And so how do we chip away at what we don't know and getting exposed to more possibilities and pathways? And also around exploration is kind of like wanting to gain new experiences and trying something new. Getting yourself out there, putting yourself out there, and sort of taking stock of where you've been and get ideas on new places to go. And all of this to say that it is a part of your evolution as a professional, right? Sort of like this journey, this career journey, which is non-linear. The reality is that there's a lot of twists and turns. And so, as we take this journey, this career journey, how do we ground ourselves? And reflection and taking that time and that space to take stock is really kind of the foundation of sort of this this career exploration and those pivots and those evolutions. And also like around who do you want to bring along on this journey, right? It takes a village. And so having good companions alongside you to encourage you and also to share their perspectives and maybe even be a champion for you, right? With a mentor or sponsor, as well as kind of thinking about what resources are there out there, what tools to pack and bring along with us on the journey. And so, assessments is just one of the resources. And so we're going to take a closer look at the public health careers and their career explorer and this in this assessment that sort of groups things using the Holland Code interest profiler, which is these 6 categories around realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. So all those questions that you were just answering in that assessment kind of like ties back to one of these categories, or like for short, they call it the RACIC personality types. And, different, like if you score higher in certain areas, there's kind of like ways to be thinking about that, where like the realistic ones are the doers, conventional ones are organizers, enterprising ones, and social ones are the helpers, artistic creators. And so like different words to sort of like kind of describe the skill sets or the leanings and that personality within each of these kind of categories. And so I'll be interested during our small group time, our breakout rooms, to hear what your results are, whether, where you scored high, and if you agree with these assessment results too, right? Did anything surprise you? And so on that feedback and those results, what this public health careers assessment does is that it pulls all of these your answers into all these different categories, and they have coded this with different types of careers that are listed, with the U.S. Department of Labor, and all of the kind of like there's numbers assigned to all of these kind of different levels, where it's entry level or it's like medium experience, or whether you're a seasoned professional. And so we'll take some time to kind of take a look at kind of like each of these jobs and each of these experiences, because what we will see is that with these job outcomes and examples at each experience level, information that we can garner from it is kind of like these titles, the pay range, and what the skills, requirements, and qualifications might be for these types of jobs. And another way to play around with it is you can also redo this, or not redo the whole thing, but just enter in different scores, right? So like from a scale of 0 to 35, right? Like if you scored higher in other areas and you want to see what career outcomes are with different kind of mix, you can play around with that. Just an idea. And so with that, we'll kind of take this time and go into breakout rooms and kind of share a little bit about ourselves, so that way we can kind of be building our SPH community and our tribe, even in this virtual space, as well as share out some of our assessment results and poke around on the Career Explorer with the job outcomes a little bit more. So with that, we'll kind of go into our breakout room and we'll regroup.
Right now.
Okay. Thanks everybody for sharing about your assessment results and what was either spot on or some that were surprising, and just being able to kind of take a look at roles, the titles of them, and drill down a little bit further into the skills and requirements and qualifications and areas of like what your current academic program is preparing you for, or like where you might want to like skill up a little bit more. Some of you had mentioned kind of like things that were surprising, and that it's the area was not, the score was not what you thought it would be. And there are limitations to these career assessments, kind of like in terms of kind of like the self-reporting bias, like based on like how you're feeling today, and just like where you're at right now. And it's this static perspective that really doesn't take into account kind of like a holistic, larger picture either, right? Like maybe geography or like financial situation or stage in life. And so, these career assessments, they're they're a tool, um, one of many tools, better to kind of share and have perspective like in conversation and not just taking it straight as like the a map or anything, but just giving some ideas and possibilities. And so, with that, we want to kind of give some time for and more space to discuss some of these things. So, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us and also schedule a career counseling appointment, coaching appointment, so that we can kind of continue this conversation around those skills, those interests, and those values and the things that you're doing in the program. So thank you.